What's up, friends? Welcome back to the number 2 podcast. I'm Glenn.
I'm Simi.
And this episode is going to be delicious.
Yes.
The ringing in my ears.
I was got to clap. That's what you do in the industry.
We're so professional. It's amazing.
On the podcast industry.
Neck pain. Welcome back to the number 2 podcast. We're happy to have you. Thanks for listening. As always, don't forget to like this podcast on whatever platform you are listening to it on. If this is YouTube, you can do a thumbs up. You can leave a comment.
Mostly subscribe.
But mostly subscribe. And if you regularly watch this with video on YouTube, I don't know, download Spotify or Apple Music or Amazon, and you can leave us a review. It's actually pretty easy. I did it. I gave myself 5 stars, but I did not leave a comment. I drafted a few comments, but I didn't leave a comment because I think it'll dissuade people if I've commented on my own work, but I still might do it.
And this is notoriously known as the podcast. So if you have any suggestions of topics or things you want to hear or we should talk about, then let us know.
Because we are here to talk about everything. Is that really why we're here?
Pretty much.
So how was your week, Simi?
Oh, the dreaded week question. It was good, actually. I can't complain. Just getting a lot of stuff done.
What was the highlight?
Highlight is getting to talk to some friends I haven't talked to in a long while. It's always good to talk to friends that you haven't talked to in a long while.
True.
How about you? How was your week?
Long. I had worked a couple shifts at my fake job.
Love a fake job.
A lot of productivity, like errands, I guess you would call it. It's just always very interesting when you like run out of toilet paper and soap and like cleaning supplies, and you have to take the trash out and do laundry, and it all happens at the same time. And I have really bad ADD. I saw a TikTok this week that basically summarizes my life. They were like, if you don't understand, like they're like, if your partner or your family member has ADD or ADHD, this is how it works. So basically, like say you wake up in the morning and you have something to do at 5. Like for example, this week I had to start work at one point at 5:15. So say I woke up at 9 a.m. A normal person would be like, I have the whole day. But an ADD person is like, it's 9 a.m., which means it's basically noon, which means it's basically 3 o'clock, which means I have to be there by 4 because most of the time I'm late and I start at 5:15. So I've got to be there. I have to be there now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I saw a really funny TikTok. Maybe I'll link it below where they described how ADD people work. And I am that. I'm like, I have all this time and then you don't have any time.
100%. I mean, you and I both know that we both have ADHD, and both two people together
it's so bad.
ADHD is just.
And what's funny is the advice people give you is, well, if you make a plan,
well, I think
you can stick to the plan. But if you could see, I'm gonna let you finish, but if you could see
I feel like I know where you're going.
Google Calendar, like we will plan. We'll be like, okay, this is the time block with a buffer to work out. This is the time block with a buffer to do this task, this task, this task. ADD, ADHD people like cannot stick to it. Like we can't do it. Like I was reviewing my calendar for last week and I was like, I didn't do any of this.
Yeah, but I think you have to give yourself some grace. At least that's what I do. I just try to simplify.
Yeah.
That's my like thing is if I feel like I'm all over the place or I'm not able to like concentrate on a certain thing, and the doom scrolling is it's an epidemic right now. I would say maybe a pandemic.
Close to a pandemic. I'm going to start wearing a mask over my eyes.
I just take the steps to just like simplify, touch grass.
Touch grass.
But like, yeah, just basically give myself some grace, take a step back and be like, okay, one thing at a time. And I think that's where you kind of taught me that, because when it comes to cleaning, we all know that you're the cleaner of the family. You like, that's like what kind of keeps you like focused is like being organized and tidy. And I'm the person that like, if I have to clean something and everything's a mess, I get overwhelmed. But I think you're the one who told me to just like step back and just like, start like with the corner. And then after the corner, you'll like move to this. And after that, you move to this. And then by the time you know it, like everything's like done and everything's like super spotless and clean. But yeah, it's easier said than done sometimes.
It's crazy. Well, cleaning is something you can control. It's like people who work out a lot. It's something you can control. Everything else in life is so, like the challenges are out of your control a lot of the time with work stuff, promotions,
And cleaning
jobs,
can be
money.
therapeutic as well for some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with working out. So it's something you can say, like, I have ownership over this versus half the other stuff in life. You're waiting on somebody else. You're waiting on something, someone. I don't know. Anyway, it's very
Yeah, and
frustrating.
it's out of your control.
Yeah. And it's like you can have the best intentions, but in neurotypical people just like they're able to like segment the emotional stress. So I think that's what I'm trying to say. Versus ADHD people, we can't like I can never relax ever, ever, ever. It's horrible.
Yeah, me either. I mean, you know this because anytime we go to you're a good sleeper. Like if you lay down and you like put your head to pillow and you close your eyes, you're pretty much out like right away, or maybe it takes you maybe like 5 to 10 minutes. But I think it's like for most people, it's easy. I do not know what's wrong with me lately. Maybe there's like external stresses that are stressing me out, but I cannot fall asleep. I think it's have to do with just like stress that I think like I'm going through, and then also the doom scrolling.
Doom scrolling. So bad.
It's so bad. And then by the time I know it, it is like 3 a.m. and I'm like, oh wow, I'm still wide awake. And sometimes I don't go to sleep till like 4 a.m. Sometimes, I mean, it's bad.
It's bad. Yeah, you've been in a bad pattern. I mean, you always say I can sleep easily, but it's because I've run myself so hard during the day that I know the point to which I'm going to black out because I'm so exhausted. Like it's not that I'm sleeping, it's like I'm going, this is the moment I die. And then, 5 or 6 hours later I wake up and I like repeat the unhealthy pattern. It's bad. Versus you, like I watched another TikTok, things you learn on TikTok about the doom scrolling. And it's like, it goes back to like caveman days where like your tribe would be sleeping and there'd be somebody up, protecting the tribe, like the caller or whatever, the person that's going to scream and then everybody's going to wake up. Well, now we don't need that. You know what I mean? You don't need somebody protecting you.
I definitely believe it's anxiety induced.
Well, it's anxiety induced, but it's like your body requires like, it's like the dopamine hit, but because you're like having anxiety, you're like getting the dopamine hit. I don't know. I watched a TikTok on it. I'll send you guys the TikTok. It was on the Greatest podcast.
Like there's this book called Something Habits, and it basically talks about the psychology of people and their behavior and like what triggers certain things. But
this is not a science podcast.
Yeah. But it's interesting. It's definitely anxiety induced, but things that I feel like help me fall asleep better is like taking a hot shower before bed. Melatonin, even though like that's not really that great for you, but
the thing I've never seen you do is like put your phone down.
I feel like once you put your phone down, you actually have to think about life.
Yeah.
And everything that comes
hence
with
the doom scrolling. I'm saying maybe you'd be able to fall asleep because you'd be so bored. Like,
yeah, but you're just like in your head. Like a lot of people, especially on TikTok, they do this thing where they go like cold turkey and they call it like raw dogging it, where they'll like go and on a plane.
Yeah.
And they'll, instead of like being on the phone or being on a laptop or watching a movie that the airline provides for you, they're just like, I'm going to raw dog it. And like, you just sit there.
I've seen that. It's funny.
And yeah, I think that's what I need to do for before bed. There's those people who have like those locks that they put their phones in because they have to have like no phone time.
Yeah.
I need one of those.
You need one of
I
those.
never thought I needed one of those, but like, it's bad.
It's hard though. I mean, and you forget, like last night, I forced myself to work out. I took a Peloton bike ride and I did a warm up and I was done. And then I was like, I have to do this. So I did a 30-minute low impact where it's just like music and you're sweating.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to force myself to do another. I'm always like extreme. So it's like, all right, now I'm going to do another 30-minute one. It's never good enough, or I don't do anything. But then I had seen another TikTok. Oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. It was a guy who's like a health coach, and he was saying that is that better? Now I'm gonna hurt my neck. That's why I moved it up.
You don't have to go like that. Just talk like that.
Oh, I say most people are listening, not watching this. No, I naturally do that.
You're good. Just talk. It'll be able to hear you.
The guy was saying that if you don't stretch before you go to bed, all the tension, and like negative everything is in your body.
Yeah.
And you have to stretch before you go to bed every night, and it'll like begin the process of releasing it. So I was like, all right, after this bike ride, I'm going to stretch. I'm going to do it. And I felt so good. And it made me forget, it's like I went to theater school 100 years ago, and we would stretch. I had dance class. You'd stretch at 6 a.m. every day. You'd stretch before rehearsal. You'd stretch in movement classes, all these things.
I believe it.
And I literally don't do it. I don't do anything good for me at all.
When was the first time you ever like realized you had anxiety or type of like stress of some sort?
I'm not good with memory questions. I'm
know
not
it's
like
a weird. I know it's a weird question, but I
it's like
specifically remember for me it was like 23, and I think like I don't know what it was. It was this thing that like came over me, and it was just something that I did not like the feeling of, and I hated it. And it wasn't until like later on in life I realized it was anxiety. And I remember I had just moved to LA. I was actually living with my uncle, and I was like in the living room, and then I just had this like overwhelming like feeling that was weird, and I didn't know what it was. I didn't like it. Obviously it was anxiety, not knowing. And I started stretching because like I grew up and I actually moved to LA to pursue dance. So I stretched all the time. When I tell you, anytime I got that feeling, and it's so funny that you say that, I would just stretch and it would fix it for some reason. No,
That's wild. I wonder, you obviously had anxiety before that. That's just the first time you recognized it.
Oh, but it was like bad. Like I don't know what it was, but it was
anxiety.
I was 23 and I was just like, bruh.
The funny thing about you saying that is I've actually never seen you stretch. Like every time we've ever gone to the gym together, we go running, you are always like, or like if we go to the gym, it's like 2 plates, you bench for 3 sets, and then we're done. Like he's not a warm up person, at least with me. It's funny that you say that, because I'm always like, okay, like let's go stretch, let's do this, let's do this, and you're like, let's just go, and I'm like, okay, like injury.
I just I think I've built the tolerance for anxiety now. Just kidding, but no, when it comes to stretching, I definitely believe and think I need to do them more often, because, the other day I did stretch too, and these hip flexors aren't flexing anymore, if you know what I'm saying.
I wonder what happened at your uncle's that you had that awakening.
So many things happen. I moved to LA. I was supposed to move with my brother. Then that didn't happen. And then I moved with my uncle, and there was like all these like different changes happening so fast, I think, at that time.
Oh, wow.
That like, you're like, where am I going in life? And then you're 23, you're this young kid trying to pursue something. And I don't know, I just had this like thing, and I was like, you know what? Let me stretch, because this is not a nice feeling. You know what's funny is that we were talking about the other podcast, how there's things that we like, but we don't tell people we like. And that,
oh yeah.
I like remembered one because I couldn't remember anything. Remember the last podcast?
Yeah,
do you guys remember?
I remember.
The J-Lo conversation. Well, mine was actually in high school, Britney Spears. Because when I was in high school, Britney Spears was like the thing, and like all the boy bands and stuff. And that was one. But then it's funny because all these guys in high school, they all had Britney Spears on their like binders and stuff because they all had crushes on her and stuff. And then I had Britney Spears all over my binder because I was like, yeah, I have a crush on her too. But like, I was just her biggest fan. Like,
that's wild.
This closeted gay kid who was just like,
they had no idea.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I feel like I have so much trauma from my like life that it's like always funny when people are like, I remember at 23. I'm like, I don't even know how old I am right now, like the number, because I'm so good at
you're 23,
like trauma blocking. I mean, I either have Alzheimer's, like early onset Alzheimer's, or I'm so good at blocking trauma that I just don't remember. And it always bugs me because I'm like, I wish I could think like, oh yeah, I remember when I was 17 and then this happened. Like, couldn't tell you anything.
Hey, and
couldn't tell you what I had for lunch. Like,
that's a good thing though, because some people live in the past, and you don't want to live in the past. You want to stay actually like right here, right in the present. And the only past you probably want to like be in is watching this podcast in the future.
Yeah, that's wild. Anyway, all right. Well, that's interesting. What?
It's the whole thing when they talk about you thinking about the past causes anxiety, and I don't know, you thinking about the past causes like depression, and you thinking about the future causes anxiety of stuff that hasn't already happened. That's why they always say like you need to be in the present.
Yeah.
Because you can only control what you now.
What does Elsa say? The past is in the past. Let it go.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, let's step into the future. What is our first topic?
Oh gosh, I thought the podcast was going to be over by now because we've talked about so many things already.
I know it was too deep.
We
but you guys are just
go deep.
we go deep.
We don't get no sleep
on the number 2 pod. I know a good topic. We went to Costco today. We've covered that topic before, but man, we're back. We're back. It was second visit, new membership.
And I was telling Glenn that we have to make sure that we get healthier things this time because sometimes we'll go shopping hungry and we'll come home with some junk foods.
So this time we went really hungry because we had literally eaten nothing. But we did good. We
made sure
we did really good.
We only got the healthy stuff, the important stuff, the essentials.
They've made a change. They're making you scan your barcode at the entrance now. And people are not happy.
In the entrance and when you check out. And when you go to the bathroom.
You've always had to do it when you check out.
When you take a sample. Like,
oh my gosh. Do you think that's coming?
No, I'm just kidding.
They're going to data track the samples. Like, do you have your membership card? One sample, one card. Because people be like, they were, what I did.
People be having their full meals up in Costco.
Today they were sampling brown rice and I just could not understand.
I went to go grab like a sample, right?
Yeah.
And a guy who had just like was eating and like just finished, grabbed the last sample that I was about to. You just had one. Save some for the rest of us.
Agreed.
Literally, and like they be just looking at the workers like, I'm gonna grab this whole tray, so you better be making more.
You give an inch, people take a mile. It's crazy. Yeah, people were sampling brown rice. I was like, if you have not tried brown rice before, and who's walking through the store going, I could really use 5 grains of brown rice. Like, that's so stupid. I bought the white rice.
Love the
the sticky white rice. So good. Yeah, Costco is perplexing.
Yeah, but I love Costco.
We also have an advantage. Like, our building doesn't have an elevator and we're very lazy. So we also look at items and we're like,
we have to carry that later.
I don't want to carry that up the stairs. So like, we don't buy produce. I can't carry 700 bananas. 800 tomatoes, like, or broccoli. Like, I can't carry it.
Yeah, Costco day is always a workout day too.
It's a workout day. So it's very, like, we bought the yogurts and it was like 700 yogurts and it's like my back hurts from buying the yogurts. I don't know. Hashtag America. The other thing to know is for those of you listening, I have some tire problems. So we went to go blow up the tire. And if your tire is too low, the machine won't do it, which is so dumb.
If it doesn't
let me finish this. You got 2 parking spots dedicated to these machines whose the sole job of the machine is to pump up tires, not to judge you based on the level of air in the tire. There is no reason, put it in the comments below, but there's no reason other than we want to sell you new tires, which is stupid because they're still going to do it.
Yeah.
To deny people air for it being too low. How does it know? I mean, it's the dumbest thing ever. Anyway, so I've done this like 10 times and finally the guy comes out and I never had anybody talk to me there. Never. I mean, have they ever done that? They've never.
I thought it was pretty cool. That was good service.
No, it was impressive. But I'm saying I've been there 100 times struggling with that machine to the point where I bought my own on TikTok. It just takes forever to the compressor.
Yeah.
And he goes, you can just use the one on the inside. Your tire's too low. He didn't help us with it, but we did it.
So those of you who don't know, if your tire's too low and it's not working at Costco, go to the mechanics. They will help you with their special machine.
And they didn't try and sell me anything. I was scared he was going to like try and sucker us in, but I don't think they have Mercedes tires.
No, he was totally just helpful. Customer service was amazing. I mean, he didn't put it in for us, but like,
no, he didn't tell us how to use it or tell us we could go grab it.
He handed it to us.
And then he said it'll beep when it's done, which was that. I mean, if you've been to an AutoZone, that was like 10 out of 10. So shout out to that guy.
Yeah.
So we had a manly day. very productive. And we managed to avoid the diabetes counter on the way in and on the way out. There ain't anything healthy at that Costco food court. Hot dogs, those hot dogs are not healthy. The pizza, no. Chicken bake, no. No. Churro, no. I think the churros are gone. Cookie, no.
But I wanted all of it.
But we avoided it. And they're dumb because I have MasterCard and they don't take MasterCard. So they would have all my money if they accepted a common form of payment. It's
just
crazy.
Give me my money.
Just give me my money. Anyway, let us know what you guys think of Costco. Show us your Costco finds on social, and then we'll go check them out. What other topics do we have this week?
Let's see. I don't know. I didn't have my cue cards with me this round. Any new news with Disney? We love Disney.
We're huge Disney fans.
I like to hear about Disney sometimes. Anything like new stuff. I feel like you're the expert. So,
what's going on at Disneyland?
Educate me, please.
Well, the summer stuff is over. It's officially Halloween.
Oh, wow.
August 1st.
It's one of my favorite times.
Which is crazy because it's not till October.
Yeah, but there's nothing in between now and then.
So. If you go to Disneyland, the Haunted Mansion just reopened. It's been closed for over a year.
It's open now?
But it's
not called the same thing, right? It's called something different?
Well, it's the holiday overlay. So it's like the Christmas Halloween version. But basically last year, if you're not Disney people, last year they shut down the Haunted Mansion. I think like after Christmas they did in February. So this year. But February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So it's been closed. So you bought a ticket to the park, you couldn't ride it. And they're redoing the line part because it's not accessible. And they basically haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Construction is very slow, but they reopened it with a virtual queue. So you like use your phone basically, and then they call you in small groups. So nobody's really waiting in line. But Disney is always getting away with stuff like that. It's like you just closed the ride for no reason and then you reopened it. Like they didn't change anything.
Yeah.
It was still the Christmas version from Christmas. What do you think about that?
I just don't get it.
Well, I think it's just they save money.
Oh.
Unless there's like legitimate maintenance they're doing, which like they don't tell people. You know what I mean? Like they don't say like we had to replace the machine.
Maybe it's like we hadn't closed it down for years and years.
Well, they said it was to redo the queue and to build a store, like a gift shop at the exit, which they're doing. But if you go there, there's just walls up. They haven't done anything. So they just, saved 6 months of labor costs.
When does the Tiana ride open?
That we don't know. The one in Florida is open.
Yeah, but we don't know California.
We don't know. No.
Oh, interesting.
They haven't announced it. So that's closed. And then when they virtually reopened the mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean closed the same day and they didn't tell anybody. So people are angry.
What's this whole thing? I remember they're supposed to be expanding. What's going on with that whole deal?
We don't know. You'll find out I think it's this weekend. So Disney, if you guys aren't Disney people, they do like their own Comic-Con. It's called D23. They do it used to be every year. They wanted it to be every year, but they couldn't sell enough tickets. So it's every other year now. They do like a mini one and a big one.
That's new news to me too.
It's been for like the last probably 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And like COVID affected it too. But this year they're doing a really big one in Anaheim. They rented out the Honda Center. So this weekend, stay tuned. Maybe we'll post updates on Monday, but they should be announcing stuff. But the last two ones, so the last 4 years, all they've done is say like, we are thinking about building something that may have to do with Encanto. Like that's what they'll do. And then they'll show some like really like grainy artwork. And everybody's like, they're building an Encanto ride. And you're like, they ain't building anything. Like, so the rumor this year is they may announce something like, cause they're supposed to do an expansion. And the executives have been, gaslighting Wall Street because the stock price is down, saying like, we're investing in the parks. We're doing what you want. Buy our stock. But we'll see. Nothing is, what's that movie quote? She's like, nothing in life is for certain. And even in death, I'm sure God negotiates. Like it's from Ever After, Angelica Houston. If you know, you know.
Well, whatever they're building.
Whatever they're building.
Whatever they're building, I'm probably going to buy. Take all my money.
If you could design, build, and ride one Disney ride, What would it be?
Design as well. Build.
What's your pitch?
Like something new?
Well, it would have to be, to get it approved, say you worked there, it would have to have something to do with a Disney movie that's already out.
It's probably going to be one of my favorite movies.
Ferngully.
Which I'm kind of sad that they took away the treehouse, but something with Tarzan.
Oh,
swinging
Tarzan.
through the trees, or I don't know, like
Oh, that's a good pitch.
something where you're just swinging and something can happen just because, I don't know, like that's a missed opportunity. Plus it's an iconic Disney.
Maybe that's why they
movie.
got rid of
I mean, Phil Collins, hello.
the treehouse
Soundtrack.
at Disneyland. They got rid of the Tarzan stuff. So I'm wondering, maybe, do you know something?
Could you imagine? Yeah, I mean,
It has good music. It's a movie people love.
it's iconic.
It's a good story. Brendan Fraser has made a comeback.
good.
I mean, he wasn't the voice, but
Yeah.
everybody, he is the live action. I don't think that was the Disney one. Well, George of the Jungle, yeah.
Bro, they should make a Tarzan live action for Disney.
Yeah.
I know there's a bunch of like
There's a bunch of
movie
Tarzan ones.
Yeah.
That would be a good ride, though. I had no idea what you were gonna say, but that's smart. Like something like somehow you're like swinging through the trees and trashing the camp, and it's like the Phil Collins like two worlds, one family.
Yeah. I mean, hello, it's a family park. That's like such an endearing song. So many opportunities
So many
for
opportunities.
that type of ride. I don't know what you would do, but like, yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool.
You're smarter than
A lot of fragrances.
Oh yeah, so many
Jungle
jungle
fragrances.
fragrances. They'd make a killing on the fragrances alone. And the outfits, the cheetah print,
All the loincloths.
all the loincloths they could sell.
The Tarzan that could just be walking around.
The hot
loincloth.
Tarzan that women would just be like, they could do a whole like fantasy book series, like Tarzan, the next adventures. And you're like, have you read the fourth book?
50 Shades.
50 Shades of Tarzan?
Absolutely not.
I mean, that's crazy. You're a genius. Yeah, I don't know. I would have no idea what I would do. I have no good pitches. Don't forget to follow our socials. I post stuff all the time. There's a lot of music news coming out.
Oh yeah.
It's insane. Everybody's
Cardi
dropping
B is
albums.
pregnant.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, she's pregnant with her third child.
Oh my
And apparently
God.
her and Offset are getting a divorce.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you were about to talk about Shawn Mendes.
I know.
Oh,
But that
Shawn
is
Mendes
news.
has an album coming out. I think like a couple songs are dropped on like April 8th.
Well, I know Katy Perry.
Yeah, Katy Perry.
Lady Gaga teased her new album at Paris
Nice.
Olympics. I mean, I feel like the Beyonce country album just came out and people still aren't up to date on that. So it's wild.
Yeah.
The rumor, I know the big news. The rumor is that Carrie Underwood's going to replace Katy Perry for American Idol
Ooh.
as a judge. And then it'll be Luke and Lionel. I don't know if you
Like
guys
I
watch
said,
Idol, but
I love those talent reality shows.
huge fan. The other show we can talk about on the pod, since we're talking about pop culture, is there's this show. I don't know if you guys are watching it. It's called Claim to Fame.
Love that show.
It's in the second season.
I think it's third.
And basically, it's a reality competition show where it's like 12 people basically live in a house hosted by the least famous of the Jonas Brothers, but they're really good.
Hey,
They
are just as famous, and I love those brothers.
No,
as well.
they're dope. They're probably the cooler ones anyway. The younger brother's dope. But anyway, it's people that are related to celebrities.
Yeah.
So it's like so-and-so's cousin or so-and-so's niece. And then the whole point of the show is they get clues through the challenges and competitions and like silly things, reality things they do as to who their celebrity relatives are. And then I'd call it a tribal council, but it's not. It's like a naming ceremony.
Yeah.
Whoever gets voted has to basically guess. So they'll be like, I think your celebrity relative is Usher. And then it's either Usher or it's not. And if it is, then there's a video sometimes. And then they get kicked off.
If you guessed it wrong, your celebrity relative gets
revealed,
exposed and revealed, and you go home.
So it's a really funny show that we're watching instead of the Olympics because we don't get NBC.
I don't know. It's pretty dope though. I love that show.
Good. It's good. Highly recommend.
I always do the deep dives on the internet and try to Google like who's
The sleuthing.
And I don't know, there's a lot of spoiler alerts too on TikTok. You can learn a lot on TikTok. That's why we have our segments. What we learned on TikTok.
So much, yet so little. Absolutely insane.
Just give me my money. It's super like popular on TikTok right now.
Just give me my money. Look it up. Anyway, this has been another episode of the Number 2 Pod. It's been fun catching up with you all. For more episodes, check out our YouTube for the video. We're on all major platforms. And as always, if you want to support us, there are some links below. Start your own podcast using the links below.
I agree. Thanks again for listening to the Number 2 Podcast. We'll see y'all next time.